What if a dream of freedom turned into a nightmare? Rakia Hadari, a bright 20-year-old with hopes of becoming a nurse, was persuaded into a marriage she never wanted. Just 6 weeks later, she was found unalived, her life stolen by the man she was persuaded to marry. But here's the twist. Her mother became the first person in Australian history convicted for coercing a persuaded marriage. This tragic story exposes a chilling truth hidden in plain sight. Stay with us as we uncover Rakia's heartbreaking journey and what it means for victims everywhere. It was November 2019. A hall in regional Victoria brimmed with 500 guests celebrating a wedding steeped in Afghan customs. At the center was 20-year-old Rakia Hadari, an unwilling bride. She scarcely knew the man she was marrying and held no affection for him, yet the fear of disappointing her mother drove her to comply. Rakia was a vibrant and lively young woman, a dreamer who aspired to greatness. She wanted to become a nurse, explore her passion for beauty, and own a large house, ordinary yet meaningful dreams many her age held dear. Abby Gorn, Rakia's close friend, recalled how optimistic she was about life after her family fled war-torn Afghanistan for a fresh start in Australia. For Rakia, happiness and freedom were within reach, but those hopes would soon be shattered. She believed she could do it, Abby said, and then it was all stolen from her. 6 weeks later, the story reached its tragic climax. Rakia was found dead, a victim of a man she'd been persuaded to marry. Her husband, Muhammad Ali Halimi, became the embodiment of her nightmare, but he wasn't the sole culprit. Sakina Jan, her mother, became the first person in Australian history convicted of coercing someone into a forced marriage, a crime that left the family torn apart. Rakia's brother, Taki Hadari, was devastated. "I try to focus on my work, but I can't stop thinking about it," he admitted. His family's journey to Australia had promised a better life, yet it led to unimaginable sorrow. Shepparton, a small town in northern Victoria, had offered Rakia a peaceful childhood. Life was fulfilling until her final year of school, when she was told she would soon become a bride. Her friend Abby sensed the shift immediately. She'd come to school, and something had changed. One day she'd be full of laughter, and the next, she was silent. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to get married." Abby remembered. Rakia had met Muhammad Ali Halimi only a handful of times. A factory worker and part-time Uber driver from Perth, Halimi was introduced to the family through Shepparton's Afghan community. Despite Rakia's visible discomfort, her family saw no reason for concern. She didn't feel ready. She didn't feel safe. And she told me that, Abby said, haunted by Rakia's pleas. Concerned friends and teachers contacted the Australian Federal Police, AFP, who spent hours speaking with Rakia. They identified her as a potential victim of persuaded marriage, an insidious and underreported crime with devastating consequences. Helen Schneider, commander of human exploitation at the AFP, described the complexities surrounding such cases. Persuaded marriage involves marrying someone without their full, free consent. Coercion, deception, or blackmails are often involved, Schneider explained. Most Australians don't realize this crime exists here, confusing it with arranged marriages. But the difference is critical. Despite receiving support, Rakia faced an impossible choice. Seeking help meant betraying her mother, a conflict she couldn't reconcile. On the surface, Halimi appeared agreeable. Even Taki, her brother, saw no red flags. When we met him, he seemed kind and respectful. "I thought he'd treat my sister well," Taki said. The day after the wedding, Rakia moved to Perth with Halimi. It was then that things began to unravel. Before leaving, she sent a video to friends, a silent plea for comfort. Communication dwindled. Her brother's concerns grew when he received a chilling message, "Don't contact me anymore." Instead of joy, Rakia's marriage became a prison. Halimi recorded videos belittling her and highlighting her supposed inadequacies. He queried her for not cooking or cleaning, sending the footage back to her family. It was an attempt to degrade her further. "I was so worried. I tried calling her, but she wouldn't pick up," Taki said. Desperate for answers, he phoned Halimi instead. Over the phone, Halimi's voice turned hostile. "It's none of your business," he snapped. "This is my life. Stay out of it." His tone escalated, yelling, cursing, and shouting. From the background, Rakia's faint voice broke through, asking, "Who are you talking to? Why are you shouting?" Taki could hear her, and then the call abruptly ended. Panic set in. 10 minutes later, Halimi called back. His chilling words would forever be etched into Taki's mind. "Come get your sister's body. I'm going to the police station." Then silence. Thousands of kilometers away, while her brother listened in horror, Rakia Hadari lay on the kitchen floor of her Perth home. Her life stolen by the very man she was persuaded to marry. Halimi's guilt was never in question. After unaliving her, he calmly drove himself to the police station. His confession was shocking but devoid of remorse. He claimed he snapped after enduring rejection and emotional distress. When he asked Rakia why she married him, she admitted her parents had pressured her into it. But Taki remembers it differently. "At no point did Rakia tell us she wanted this marriage," Taki said. For the Australian Federal Police, AFP, the case extended beyond Halimi's conviction. While he was sentenced to at least 19 years for life-taking, detectives had their sights set on someone else. Sakina Mohammadjan, Rakia's mother. In the wedding footage, a bright and colorful celebration steeped in Afghan tradition. It's clear something is amiss. Beneath the smiles and rituals, a crime was unfolding. 6 weeks later, the young bride was dead. "It's an absolutely devastating outcome," remarked AFP Commander Helen Schneider, who leads the Human Exploitation Unit. Persuaded marriages carry extreme risks, and this case is a grim reminder. The person who orchestrated Rakia's persuaded marriage, her mother, was held accountable. In a landmark trial, Sakina Mohammadjan became the first person in Australia to be convicted of coercing someone into marriage. For those in law enforcement, it was a landmark victory. But for experts like Dr. Laura Vidal, a University of Canberra lecturer who specializes in persuaded marriage prevention, the case highlights the complexities of the issue. "This is an unspeakable tragedy," Dr. Vidal reflected. "We have a young woman whose life was cut short by an abuser and a mother now behind bars. We need to carefully consider whether such convictions truly help prevent persuaded marriage or inadvertently isolate victims further." Dr. Vidal worries this case could deter others from seeking help. Victims often say, "I don't want my family to get in trouble. I just don't want to get married." If they see support leading to criminal charges against loved ones, they may become even more hesitant to come forward. When asked about these concerns, Commander Schneider acknowledged the delicate balance. "It's a valid fear, but our priority remains prevention and victim support. We aim to provide safe avenues for individuals to seek help." Australia first criminalised persuaded marriage in 2013, led by Attorney General Mark Dreyfus. Recognizing ongoing challenges, Dreyfus has introduced additional measures, including alternative pathways for reporting persuaded marriages. "Victims no longer need to go directly to law enforcement," he explained. "They can access support through other channels while still receiving protection." The government has allocated $50 million to tackle persuaded marriage, reflecting its seriousness as a national issue. But is the system working? "We're making progress," Dreyfus admitted. The steady flow of reports indicates forced marriage persists, but it also shows more victims are seeking help. "We've come far, but there's more work to do." Rakia Hadari's story continues to resonate, amplifying a message she could not deliver in life. Her tragic fate underscores the importance of education, prevention, and accessible support systems for victims of persuaded marriage. "I know it's hard to come forward," said Commander Schneider. "Victims may feel embarrassed or fear for their families, but help is available, and we are here to listen to their needs." For those who loved Rakia, the loss is immeasurable. Taki Hadari carries the pain of that phone call every day, a constant reminder of his sister's stolen future. And for young women facing similar circumstances, Rakia's story now serves as both a warning and a call for change. Rakia Hadari's story is a heartbreaking reminder that forced marriages are not just someone else's problem. They're happening here, in our communities. Her life, her dreams, and her freedom were taken far too soon. Now, her legacy serves as a call to action, to raise awareness, support victims, and prevent this tragedy from repeating. If the story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories that shed light on the hidden struggles around us. Stay strong, stay aware, and we'll see you next time.